Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. And in today's video, as is our tradition at this point, we have the Fusion event calendar for Armanz the Magnificent, and we're going to be breaking it down here today. And of course, let's actually cover two big twists right as we dive in. The first one is not related to the calendar, but is a really positive one. There is a free 5th anniversary gift in the shop. So look, I mean, if you're away on holiday and like you're watching videos, but you've, pledged not to log into Raid for the next week or something, right? You might want to break that pledge and just at least log in so you start this gift going, right? I think the gift is available to be started for the next 5 days, I think, but definitely get in. There's a Sacred Shard, 3 Ancients, 2 Voids, a Primal, a Legendary Tome, an Immortal Soulstone, a ton of multi-battles, 5 million silver. Like, it's probably this is the best free gift they've ever given. Like, it's the best one. This is absolutely insanely good. You definitely want to get it. We like to kick Plarium when they do something bad. I also like to praise them when they do something good. This is amazing. This is great. Great, cool. Now, the other thing we have to dive into, you'll notice, and this is we're gonna do some speculation here at the start because it's really going to affect how you want to do this plan. Number one, actually, let's praise Plarium for something else. Last time we had a Hero's Path in the Fusion, they did it for the first time with Ancora, right, who's the previous Fusion. They told us there was a Hero's Path on that Fusion, but they didn't tell us initially what you had to do for that Hero's Path. They're now telling you there is a Hero's Path for 50 fragments. You will need to summon champions from shards and summon souls from soulstones. I suppose or you could do either one to do this Hero's Path. And we'll just mention this right now as well. There are 450 fragments total. So you can absolutely skip that Hero's Path. You'd have to do everything else. Or if you plan to do the Hero's Path, you could skip other events. And we'll talk about that in a second because, for instance, well, look, if summoning champions from shards is part of the Hero's Path, maybe I want to skip Summon Rush and Champion Chase because they're also summoning events and do all my summoning for the Hero's Path instead. Why would we want to do that? Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. So here we go. This is where we have to speculate. And specifically, we're looking at this paragraph right here. Festival of Creation, which is the ongoing event, will include a Titan event, a Hero's Path event, and a custom deck of Fate. Okay, these are 3 major events. And there are typically major rewards going into these. So for instance, the Hero's Path, which was part of the Ancora Fusion, not only did it have fragments for the Ancora Fusion, it also had a 5-star soul for Perfect Soul for White Queen Ancora, which is extremely good, right? That soul is an absolutely massive power boost, right? The stats that you're getting from this soul are huge. The effects are really powerful. It's very, very hard to get 5-star souls. So it's a pretty big deal. What could they do over here? So we've got a Hero's Path, Deck of Fate, and the Titan event. I would say they're almost definitely Arman's soul is going to be in one of those. I would say I'm thinking probably prepare for the Hero's Path, most likely, right? That's probably what to do, right? Say, okay, expect the soul in the Hero's Path. Then the question is, what comes in these other things? As you guys know, I am hardcore speculating that we could have probably a deck of Fate, perhaps for St. Patrick's Day, that might give St. Patrick himself, Grand Oak Podrick, he could be a guarantee for a deck of Fate. They've done guaranteed champions from decks of Fate quite a bit recently. It seems to be their new favorite thing. So that's something I would be considering, which again is likely to be, I would think, in St. Patrick's Day in just under a couple of weeks, and would likely involve souls as not souls, summoning champions as well, probably. The Titan. Then the question becomes, what's the reward for the Titan event? I don't know. Maybe the Titan event has the soul for Armanz, and the Hero's Path is going to be something completely different. It's hard to know for sure. I think what we'll need to do is stay tuned to your events calendar, right? So log into Plarium Play on your PC, and then you just click. You go to like all games, or whatever. You click into Raid, and then you click on Events, and it brings up the Events tab. This should be populated with the events soon. Right now, it's not, but I imagine they're going to populate it with the events soon. And I don't know if we can go back far enough. Can we go back far enough? Guaranteed champ event. I don't know, but there was for Ancora, it did show that there was a soul. Anyway, that's the point. The point is, when you find the event, it will probably show you if there is a soul specifically up for grabs in the Heroes Path. And I'm assuming because they've announced all this that they will put the Heroes Path into the events tab on Plarium Play, and that will probably be the first place that we see whether there's a soul or not. So that will sort of change things, because look, this is what I'm looking at. This is the big question right here. Let's do it in red. The big question. For me, the Hero's Path is likely to be quite intensive to do, right? Shards and souls. And it's hard to know exactly how many you're going to need. If that has a soul in it, though, then that is the thing to do. And you would say, let's skip Champion Chase and skip Summon Rush. The danger of skipping this and saying, I'm only going to get the 50 here, is that you could come to the Hero's Path and be screwed. Go, oh, I don't have enough stuff to actually get it done, and I can't finish the fusion, and that's a disaster. And here's the thing. I mean, you could do Champion Chase and Summon Rush to be safe. Another problem is, by the time the Hero's Path starts, there's not much to skip. You can skip Dungeon Divers 3. You could maybe skip Artifact Enhancement 3, but the Champion Chase tournament will have ended. Classic Arena is easy. Spider is super easy. So, you know, the 50 fragments, maybe you skip Dungeon Divers 3, you're going to have 25 extra fragments. You can cash them in now, but yeah, those are sort of the things that I'm considering. So let's look at the events here. Let's talk about the layout of it, and then I think we'll come back to the Hero's Path question at the end. Let's underline all these summon events with red, because I think they are the big, big, big question marks. This one, by the way, is Summon Rush. I don't know what the champions are going to be, but I'll announce that. I assume we're going to hear later today, and I'll do another video on that later today when we know, so that might affect your decision. The Champion Chase tournament, I believe, is due to be 2x Void Shards, which, you know, makes it potentially quite difficult. You double check. Yeah, if we look at hellhades.com, yeah, we're expecting on Friday the 15th of March 2x Voids, and I mean, there could be a guaranteed in there. No, probably not. It wouldn't be. It would, that, like I said, if they do a guaranteed this month, I think it's really likely to be in the Deck of Fate, which is likely to be probably a separate event. I mean, actually, you know, the Hero's Path is running through St. Patrick's Day. Could this Hero's Path give the champion? I mean, St. Patrick's Day is Sunday. Sorry, March 19th is my birthday. It's running on my birthday. Oh, Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. So this Hero's Path starts right after it. St. Patrick's Day really overlaps with the Champion Chase tournament. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, man, the speculation. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. So, you got Artifact Enhancement 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, you know, you want to save all your silver for these. If you are going to do all the summoning events, including the Hero's Path, like I said, you could potentially skip the third one. That will make things a little bit easier. But obviously, all the time, especially if you're free to play, especially if you're earlier in the game, only ever roll up gear during Artifact Enhancement events, and potentially even stop as soon as you get the fragments to save even more silver for the next one. If you do that, they're very, very easy to do. If you just roll up gear whenever and you never have any silver, these will be almost impossible. It's really a choose your own difficulty mode for the most part. We've got Classic Arena. We've got 2 of those. And like I said, you could, in theory, skip the second one if you do all of the other events, including the Hero's Path, but why would you? Classic Arena is, again, very, very easy. They're sort of the most free of these. The bad news, absolutely, is Dungeon Divers ×3, which is real nasty. Dungeon Divers are some of the hardest events. I haven't actually mentioned, but look, every event gives 25 fragments. You guys can see that. So it's pretty straightforward. Every event is 1/4 of the epic. You need all 4 epics. So that's sort of that. One other thing to mention with the fusion is it's probably going to cost, what's it, 1 or 2 million silver to fuse up Armanz. So make sure not to run out of silver as you come to the end. And also, you might want to pay attention on Sunday, right? Because these are Void champions, you're going to need enough Void potions to ascend them all. Now, you probably have a lot of Void potions if you've been doing Clan Boss, because you don't get that many Void champions, right? I've got way more Void potions than anything else, and I never touch the Void Keep, but that's something to note. If you are low on Void potions, you're going to need to grind the Void Keep on Sunday. This is thanks to Neva from HH Gaming. these are the amount of potions you need: 80 Greater Voids, 24 Superior, 60 Greater Arcane, 12 Superior Arcane. That is how many of the potions that you will need. So like I said, Sundays are going to be your only opportunity. If you miss the day, you're in trouble. You could force the keep open, I think, with gems, 300 gems, but like nobody wants to spend 300 gems because you missed a few potions. That would be not good. So don't do that. Okay, so we have that going on. Yeah, these 3 dungeon divers, though, they're going to be the very difficult things. Let's see how those overlap with let's use green for this, I suppose. Let's see how those overlap with the dungeon. So we've got Dragon starts early. Dragon, I say, is a low priority to start today. You can immediately see we'd rather wait for dungeon divers to begin before starting Dragon. Okay, so that would be something I would do. Now, do note that doesn't give you much overlap, really, at all. Like Dragon for me might be ending at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. Like it's probably going to end very early. So really it would be hardcore focusing it on Saturday. So I'd say be careful there, right? If you're going to be busy at the weekend, you might be distracted. It might be better off to do Dragon outside of Dungeon Divers and just get it done. It's going to make Dungeon Divers 1 harder, but that might be the safer bet because, again, you really don't want to miss any events. Ice Golem, absolutely started away. And then I think Ice Golem is, again, from this, it's likely to end before Dungeon Divers 2 begins. So yeah, I think between doing all of Dragon on Saturday with Dungeon Divers 1 and all of Ice Golem on probably on Sunday or Monday, depending on how your energy goes. Let's say focus it more on Monday, maybe finish off champ training first. Yeah, Dungeon Divers 1 shouldn't be too bad, but you might need to do some extra points, right? The points for Dungeon Divers tend to be really high. They're a big energy sink, but of course you can do it anywhere. I'd say Ice Golem is a really good dungeon to farm now because Curse set is so strong, Provoke set is so strong. It's got the best sets of the dungeons, so it's not a bad one to line up. Dungeon Divers 2 is kind of miserable. Let me be honest with you. We've got Fire Knight overlaps with it, and then sort of peters out at the end. Again, Fire Knight probably ends before Dungeon Divers 3 starts. Dungeon Divers 3 is, funny enough, the one with the hero's path that's most skippable. If you're going to do everything, that'd be the one to skip. But it overlaps with Spider, so that's very easy. You're going to very, very easily and quickly farm up that Dungeon Divers 3, at least for some of the points. So there is that. I mean, there's also the possibility, I suppose, that it won't be just a single set of 25 fragments. So it could be split up. So that's hard to judge. That's hard to plan for. You could, let's say there's a small batch of fragments and you probably could do that. Like grab, I don't know, let's say it's split into 10 and 15 or 5, 10 and 10. You could potentially grab smaller chunks. If they do that, maybe. Personally, I would probably just keep it simple because it's a lot to manage, right? And this is just a game. I would keep it simple, and I would just do all the fragments for each event probably, and I just cash in my extra fragments. That would be my plan. I just aim to get all of them. I think it's the most simple and straightforward way to do it. Yeah, if you go overboard, well, hey, you can come into the fragment thing, and you can cash in your old ones for these chests, and never get High Mother Maud, but get slightly closer to never getting her. But yeah, so there we go. That's how the dungeons line up. I think Dungeon Divers 2 is probably the most difficult. It only overlaps at Fire Knight, but it does overlap with the champ training event as well. So let's switch over to, let's go like a dark blue here. So here we go, champ training. I put in some dots here. Champ training, you can definitely do champ training. I'd actually say champ training is the thing to do at the start here. And then it's lower value. So I'd definitely be focused on champion training when that starts today. That'd be my goal. Hopefully get the champion training done on Thursday and Friday. Get it done early and you're good to go. Now, another little tip you can do is obviously for this event, we need to level up the epics. They need to be leveled up. So what we can do is fuse the epics during the champion chase tournament. That will give us points towards champion chase, help to do that easily. You're getting a void epic. It's 350 points. The champion chase tournament points are likely to be quite high because of that. They'll be expecting you to do it. That's what they've done recently. So I would look to fuse them up during this and then level them up during this champion training event. Okay, let's actually put in like a little, do like this. Doop. And let's link them up here. So let's go over here. Bloop, bloop. And then we come down here. Bloop, bloop. Like so. That's what I would do. I'd be doing these guys. You're going to be able to do, let's see. You could do 1, 2. You could potentially do 3 of them during it. You could, even if you did Dungeon Divers really early, you could potentially fuse all 4. You could, in fact, you could potentially fuse all 4 of these guys during Champion Chase and Armanz the Magnificent as well. No, sorry, you couldn't because you need these 25. Well, you could do it to get the Legendary Tome, right? Presumably, there's going to be legendary tomes higher. You could certainly fuse up 3 to help get these final fragments. If you've done everything else, those would be your final fragments. You could then fuse another epic, get more Champion Chase points, fuse the legendary for more Champion Chase points. That's something that you could potentially do if you want to go crazy. It is something you can do. We are also going to have CBC. Draw that clearer. CBC should be over here. I think last time was personal rewards, so we might be expecting not personal rewards this time. And yeah, unfortunately, like I said, that's sort of, you will have Dungeon Divers on day 2 of CBC. I'm pretty sure CBC is going to be on this. All right, did we just have it this week? But let me double check that. Actually, make sure I'm getting the days right. Let me double check. Yeah, okay. I check CBC by checking when I stream. I stream for every CBC. So the last CBC was at the end of February. So yeah, we didn't have one this week. So it will be next week. It will be this one. Almost definitely a CBC. And probably not personal rewards, but we will see. And yeah, there we go. So that's sort of how things are lining up. You will have, like I said, Dungeon Divers 2 will start on day 2 of CBC. So you could like run Spider for some quick points and Dungeon Diver points for CBC and sort of double dip there. That's okay. Yeah, I think this one looks pretty intensive. Like, here's the thing. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to postpone my decision until we get, hopefully, that hint, like I was mentioning, through Plarium Play, about what will come in this hero's path. It will also depend a lot on how difficult the summon rush is. That's a really big question. How difficult is Summon Rush? Because we can cheese Champion Chase quite a bit. We can fuse the epics for Champion Chase. You know, you can do other fusions, right? Like if you have like your Broadmaws, right? I've got a few of these. I can only do 2, but I can get 2 Broadmaws. That's another 700 Champion Chase points. That's great. I could throw some Ancient Shards into Champion Chase. You can do Champion Chase fairly easily if you're smart about it. So Champion Chase might not be too hard. It depends how hard Summon Rush is. So I'm in a bit of a quandary. What do I do? Do I do these just to be safe and not need the hero's path? Maybe, but let's be real. I'm quite likely to do the hero's path anyway. I'm definitely scared by how long it is, right? Plarium likes to do this thing where the longer an event is in terms of days, the more difficult it is. Right? Well, it's not very helpful when it's doing shards and summons from soulstones. Like, yeah, you'll get some Hydra soulstones on Wednesday, and you'll get a few days of like clan boss, but you're not getting a huge influx of shards. It's not like a Dungeon Divers or champion training event, which is long, tends to have higher points. But yeah, at least you got multiple days to grind it out, and you get lots of energy every day. Not so much with the hero's path at all. So I'm worried about it, but if this has some major reward in it, like that's the thing. If there is a 5-star soul, or if there is a guaranteed, or there could be anything in it. There could be nothing, but there could be anything. I might come into this and go, man, I wish I'd not used any shards in Summon Rush. I wish I used none for Champion Chase Tournament and saved them all for this hero's path. It's also good. Again, this was my recommendation to you. We still have the 1 day left of your 2x for 6-star Perfect Souls. As you guys can see, I saved a lot of soul stones. I mean, this makes me quite comfortable, actually. I've got 3 Eternals. That makes me good. I have, in theory, 11 Immortals. I will have, you know, basically 100 of these. You could save these for missions and stuff. I'm not too bothered about that, though. But you could potentially save up your stuff and stockpile for missions if you want to do them as quick as possible, of course. I did a video on that yesterday, but I've got a pretty solid set of soul stones here. I could pull them in the 2x thing, but I could also save them to make this easier. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save them for the hero's path. especially for me because I did max out the thing. I got lucky already. It was a really fun event, this 2x Soulstone thing. Error. Okay, okay. I guess the game just crashed. Well then, right, here we go. Let me know, what do you guys think? Remember, we are likely to have multiple big events. We've got a Titan event is going to be happening in the next month. That probably will be after the fusion. I think a Titan event for 2 weeks after the fusion is what's going to happen. That could be an event that has his soul. Then the question is, what will be in the hero's path? What will be in the deck of fate? Lots of big events. It's hard to know for sure what's going to happen. I see this flickering. My light's gone. There we go. Fixed. And I still need to fix this corner. That's a fold in my green screen because I'm too lazy to get the clips out and make it flat. Error. But yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? For me, I'm going to postpone until I see the summon rush. I'll be honest, my thoughts right now is, seeing as I've got so many soul stones, I might just, depending on the summon rush points, I might do it or I might just skip it entirely. I think I will do the champion chase, and then I'm probably going to max out the hero's path and be like 25 fragments over. That's probably what's going to happen. I might skip Dungeon Divers 3 even. I might do that, or I might just get some extra fragments. Probably what I will do. But yeah, it really depends on what's going to come. Let me know. Thanks for watching though, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. I didn't mention, but Armanz, he's amazing. You can check out my showcase on him. He's fantastic. You definitely want to get him if you can, if you like Arena any way, shape, or form. Armanz is great. He's going to be clutch for live Arena missions. He's going to be clutch for your 3v3 missions. I know you guys find that stuff difficult. Armanz is going to be like an easy shoe in to every single team for you guys. So definitely get him. But yeah, see you next time. Goodbye.